Good evening. Welcome to Heritage Hour of the Filipino Heritage Society of Montreal. We at the FHSM is able to mobilize our talented young citizens and local resources to contribute to our community life. We're able to provoke or to provide through our Zoom activities and Heritage Hour program a shared sense of bayanihan and inclusion. Through Heritage Hour, we have kept the Filipino heritage alive. Our guest tonight has set an example of this year's theme of 500 years of Philippine Christianity, gifted to give. Jackie Bolofer, a second-generation Filipino-Canadian who was born and raised in Cotonou. Jackie has been an active member of the Salinggawi Performing Arts Organization from the age of 10 and to this day. She obtained her bachelor's degree in social work at University of Montreal and has been practicing as a social worker in the public health sector since 2017. She's here tonight as a panelist. We'll ask her about her charitable organization and her initiative program with her family. For our panelists tonight, we have Jeanette Perignon, our secretary, Jim Golcha, director of Outreach Program, Ricardo Rivaya, our assistant treasurer, and I'm Amy Manonov, the moderator for tonight. So Jackie, welcome.
Well, first of all, hi everyone and good evening, and thank you so much for having me here tonight. So particularly during this discussion, I'm really going to be focusing on my involvement with the Salinggawi Performing Arts Organization, but also the Christmas basket project that I've been participating in that is located at the St. Willibroad Parish.
What are the challenges that you have met to keep this organization motivated, especially in these trying times with this COVID-19 for the past 2 years?
So the past 2 years have been very challenging on everyone, and just in our daily lives, it has been difficult. Just to explain, with Salinggawi, for instance, we have unfortunately had to be on a hiatus during the past 2 years, just out of difficulty of being able to gather and be together in common spaces, and at the same time have been met with challenges in terms of seeing our fellow members and dancers growing up, becoming professionals, continuing their studies, having their own families. So, of course, the sustainability of the group is a little bit difficult as we go along. But we still make do, and we find ways to get together regardless of the pandemic. When it comes to the Christmas basket projects, I mean, last year was particularly our first time doing this initiative in the midst of the pandemic. We had to really rethink the way that we were organizing our initiative. Just in terms of the registration, instead of meeting people face to face, we had to do it over the telephone, unfortunately. With the volunteers last year, unfortunately, we had to limit the number of volunteers that we were able to accommodate at a time because of social distancing. So we had to find different ways, be creative, because we still wanted to be able to deliver the project and make the recipients happy and have them benefit from the project.
Hi, Jackie. First of all, I'd like to thank you for joining us. I'm very interested in the work that you do for the Filipino community and also for the greater Montreal community. And so my first question is, how did you know about the Christmas basket project, and how has it inspired you to keep participating in this charitable initiative?
So I was initially just a simple parishioner at St. Willibroad Parish. The first year I heard about the initiative, and we were invited to even just go downstairs in the hall and see the grandeur of the project. So of course I was very drawn to see what it would look like, how it would develop itself. And And having worked and studied in the field of social work, I often refer to these initiatives, to these organizations. So of course, I wanted to see firsthand what it would be like. I've been blessed my whole life to have many, many blessings, and unfortunately, not everyone is as fortunate. So I just wanted to take the time to give back. And the first year I volunteered, I think I'm going on my 7th year now that we're volunteering with the Christmas Basket Projects, just to see, to be able to give back, particularly at this time of the year. It is quite rewarding.
Hi, Jackie. At the outset, I thank you very much for being here with us tonight. It's a pleasure to have you. I'm interested in both of your projects, the Salinggawi and the Christmas baskets. First of all, the Salinggawi, because I like dances, so I do folk dancing and I teach the seniors. But for my first question, I understand that your project has to fill 200 baskets. That's your goal. So how do you successfully fill the Christmas baskets? Do you have certain strategies that you take in order to accomplish this?
So so we usually deliver these baskets to up to about 200 individuals and families, more give or take about 200 of them every year. Everything that is sent out to these families and these individuals are solely based on donations that are received from generous people in our community. Based on the monetary donations, we're able to have a basic set for each individual or each families, and everything that is extra that is added is personalized based on the households as well. So you're seeing whether it's a senior person, whether it's a family with several children. So of course, the baskets are filled accordingly to the household, and to see what we think might be useful to the person receiving it.
Hi, Jackie.
Hi,
I
Tito.
have some questions also, and I'm so happy and glad that you accepted our invitation to be a PI. I think you're one of the young Filipinos, the young generations, the second generation Filipinos, you said. And I know I always look forward to be of carry on, promoting our culture anywhere in the world. Now, I noticed that you have been a member of Salinggawi since you were 10 years old. Up to this date, you have been an active member of Salinggawi. So you've been there for quite a while, and maybe during those years, you must have some enjoyable moments, which I think will be unforgettable memories as far as your activities in Salinggawi. Can you describe some of those moments?
Of course, I think through the years I've had so many enjoyable moments. That's practically where I grew up, from the young age of 10 to now the person that I am today. So many of them, but I think one of my favorite ones is really the Canada Day Parade every year. I mean, unfortunately with the pandemic, we haven't had that go on, but every year it's always such a pleasure to be able to walk the streets of Montreal in our traditional wear, to be able to wave the Filipino flag in front of Montreal, and show the pride of it. So it's always such a fun activity to see people discover the Filipino heritage for the first time, for instance, when they're seeing us. I think I can go on and on, but it's always such a pleasure when you're able to showcase that on a bigger scale, that is the city or in our local communities as well.
I know you need more volunteers for this type of initiative that you do mostly, So how are the volunteers being picked or challenged to join the group?
So speaking for Salinggawi, I mean, we are practically have become a family. Many of us throughout the years who have grown up together and continue to be involved. Of course, right now we're on a little bit of a hiatus, so it's a little bit difficult to see how we would get together going forward. But we are on Facebook, and people can reach out to us if ever they're interested in joining Salinggawi. With pleasure, we would be able to welcome with open arms. For the Christmas Basket Project, actually it's great timing because we are right in the midst of preparing our baskets. It's going to be starting actually the weekend of December 11th, leading up to our delivery day on December 17th. So if people are interested in volunteering, they can always send us a message on our Facebook page, which is the Christmas Baskets Project. We're looking for volunteers to help prepare the baskets, looking for volunteers to drive these baskets to the homes or to deliver them to people. So those are always ways that you can participate if ever you're interested in seeing the initiative.
It's very interesting that you have these two organizations that you're involved with, and I can see that you're passionate about both of them. And now my question would be about one of them, which is Salinggawi. So I'm curious, can you tell us about the initiatives and projects of the Salinggawi Performing Arts Organization?
Yeah, so Salinggawi has been around for a while now. Really, our mission is really to promote the Filipino culture through song and dance. We really are there to participate in local events, if ever there are some, to really continue to share the culture with others. Right now, we are also able to be invited to some events, for instance, some people's weddings, some local parties, community events, to be able to continue to share the joy and transmit the culture. I mean, the hope is going to be that we continue to be able to share the traditions, the folklore, the heritage with the future generations to come as well. So we don't have any ongoing activities at this moment. Like I said, unfortunately with COVID, we've had to have a little bit of a halt with all of this. But we are a very close-knit group that has become a family. So it's also an opportunity for people to connect with each other and find support within our Filipino kababayans.
What are the ages of the dancers? Is there some kind of a age range that you have to be a dancer of Salinggawi? And I guess I can continue with another one that links to it. Aside from performing in Montreal, have you ever performed outside Montreal or outside of Canada?
So in terms of the age groups, I mean, it really fluctuates in terms of who's there. We've had dancers that were as young as 4 years old that have joined our group. The age gap is limitless, I would say. We have had some of our parents even participate in some of our showcase shows. So it's really nice to see that intergenerational touch. I mean, I think sometimes they leave the show light to the younger ones, but anyone who has the heart to want to learn any of these folk dances is more than welcome to be able to join us. In terms of where we've been able to perform, so we have been in Montreal in the past. We have traveled to Winnipeg. We have traveled to Toronto as well to participate in some exchanges as well. But in the recent years, we have been more focused in Montreal.
You've been there for quite a while. You said more than 7 years?
I would say about.
Yeah. So now you must have seen donations which abundant. We have abundant years of donations, and maybe you have got lean years also of donations. Can you describe how it was or how it is? How at some years you've got so much, and at some point you just have a few. So can you describe more about the flow of donations?
So we always like to at least have a basis of what we're able to offer these individuals and the families, which that is based on the monetary donations that we're able to get every year. Otherwise, it really is a participation with local groups. Also, in terms of donations, we have parishes that we work with. We have schools that do food drives as well. And then it's really coming back to the generosity of the community to remember that, food drives, you can do that from your own home. Basically, seeing if there's anything in your pantry that's been there for a while that you that is still good that you can donate to. It's also playing again on the generosity of the community when people are going out for groceries, and if you have a little bit more to give, to encourage them to get a little bit more and donate this to local food drives in the community. So we are gracious to say that every year we are able to really meet our mission and help the people that we want to help. But it is quite impressive if ever anyone is able to visit the initiative to see how generous people are in terms of the donations with the non-perishable foods.
One of the pictures you have sent with us, we have huge boxes, a lot of them. And what places do you put those boxes?
So the initiative takes place in the hall of St. Willibroad's Parish in Verdun. So that is the place that houses this initiative. Those boxes and that initiatives are there throughout the preparation, which is usually about a week or so. There are many boxes, and the boxes will depend on how many people are in the household as well. So the bigger the family, of course, the bigger the more amount of food or gifts they will receive. So that's where they are, and that's where it's the little Santa's workshop.
Are these boxes also being put in public places like groceries and or buildings?
So they are usually individual or families who are registered to receive these baskets. So the baskets are prepared accordingly to the registration and delivered directly to their homes on delivery day. So we have a system going on with the addresses, and they will receive it personally every year.
So from your volunteer work, I'd like to shift to your work as a social worker. So as a social worker in the public health care sector, what do you think is the most pressing problem in our community? You can talk about the Filipino community or the larger Montreal community.
That's a very loaded question. What is what is the most pressing? I think it's a very multi-layered question, but I think we have to go back to the basics. So when we're thinking about, and the Christmas baskets is a great segue to this, is really thinking about basic needs, which is having food, having shelter, and basically when many people are in situations that they cannot afford the basics, that is the first thing that needs to be tended to. No one should be going to bed hungry. No one should be going to bed without a roof over their head. Those are the basic issues if we're looking at poverty, and really reaching out to those who are less fortunate. We'll start with that, because if not, we can have this conversation for many hours. But I think the most pressing issues is really addressing basic needs and poverty. Making sure that people have enough to at least make ends meet.
It really amazes me how can the volunteers finish the packing of these boxes in a week or so, you said. Is there some training that you give to these volunteers that to be so efficient and it flows smoothly?
Mm-hmm. So it is an initiative that's been around for a century, actually, at St. Willibroad. So with the years, we've become more efficient. Right now, the project is being led by the wonderful Angèle Laflèche at St. Willibroad. So she has got the schedule down to the T. We have the day specifically when we receive the boxes that we're preparing. We're assembling the boxes, physical boxes. The next day is sorting through the groceries and sorting them by food section. The following day will be sorting the toys. So we have a very strict schedule that we work on, ensuring that step by step everything is off the checklist. In terms of the training of the volunteers, we have about 40 to 50 volunteers that come every year, come and go. It's a very hands-on training. You come in, today's task of the day, for instance, is filling all of the boxes with pasta, for instance, and making sure that each box has enough pasta. That's the task of the day. It's very hands-on. It's a teach and go type of training. And every day we really are thankful to have enough volunteers to get this project together and delivered based on the timeline.
But how does the family been chosen to be part of this project?
Yes, so because the initiative has been around for many years, a lot of the recipients are aware when the registration comes around. So there is a registration process. These recipients are usually low-income individuals, seniors, or people on disability, for instance, or low-income families. So they call into the church's office to express an interest in receiving a basket. We also get referrals from local schools as well in the Verdun area. So other than that, it's word of mouth in terms of determining who will receive the basket. And most years we are able to provide to everyone that it's.
Jackie, are you a parishioner of Willibroad? Or do you live in the parish or in the parish of Willibroad?
So I was a parishioner at St. Willibroad, and then I recently moved here in NDG. So I have been attending here at St. Ignatius. But the project is very, very close to my heart. So regardless, I want to continue to participate in the initiative, even if I'm in NDG.
Because I remember I had been to Willibroad. I attended one of those fundraising concerts. I think it was still Father Nunez who was the pastor there quite some time ago.
Indeed.
So is this Christmas basket originated in Willibroad or somewhere else?
Yes. So, I mean, Christmas baskets are a project that happen in a lot of local parishes. As Tita Jeanette was saying, there's St. Monica's that also does Christmas baskets. Mostly each parish has some type of Christmas basket project that they have. I think it's something that's common that comes out of parishes as a project. Specifically at St. Willibroad, it's been around for a century, so 100 years.
Really?
So this is a project that was brought in with the previous parishioners, the previous pastors and priests that were involved. So this is something that's been going on for many, many years and a whole century specific to St. Willibroad.
Because I think I knew that before there's quite a good number of parishioners, mostly English people. But as years go by, I think the parishioners just more or less declined quite a lot. That I know there's not too many parishioners there, and I think most of the parishioners are Filipinos.
Yeah, so I mean, it comes and goes. I think with every single parish, parishioners come and go. People age also. People move out of the area. So unfortunately, that's a reality with parishes. But luckily, the initiatives are what continue to go on year after year.
So in what way that we Filipinos that live everywhere can help donate in your project?
So we have a Facebook page, which is the Christmas Basket Project that you could find us. We're always looking for volunteers, as I mentioned, to help prepare the boxes, to help deliver the boxes. But otherwise, if you don't have the capacity to come and volunteer, because it is a lot of labor, it's a physical work, lifting and carrying, we are more than happy for you to drop off some perishables, non-perishable items to give monetary donations as well. We do have a Canada Helps website, which you can find on the Facebook page if ever. St. Willibroad's is in Verdun, but I always encourage you to also look at the local initiatives in your area. Most places have a food bank. Most places have food drives going on that you can donate to in the way that you're able to. And if it's not through the Christmas Basket Project, I think it's really important this time of the year to remember those who are less fortunate. So giving back if we can, but also on a daily and more day-to-day basis, remembering your neighbors, seeing who needs help, helping shovel the driveway, doing some groceries if they're having difficulty to, remembering our seniors, remembering those who are isolated because of physical disabilities, visiting those people, saying hello. So if it doesn't mean that you have to volunteer a whole week in a very intense way, we're all able to give back in a way that is realistic for us based on our capacities. So I come from a beautiful family. My parents, I don't know if you're going to put this on air, are Jonas Bolofer and Beng Rosales, that she goes by in the community. We are a family of 4 children. I am the second daughter, so I have an older sister and 2 younger brothers. We were all born here in Montreal, grew up in Montreal, are still in Montreal. This is where we are. My parents, my father is originally from Bicol, and my mom grew up in Manila.
Stephanie Villanueva, she could be an inspiration to the youth as well.
Absolutely. Yes, I think it's really important. I mean, we are such a big community, and unfortunately, we don't see ourselves enough in different spaces. So it is such a pride to see Stephanie Valenzuela taking up space where we deserve to be seen, and definitely not being afraid to reach for our dreams, follow the career paths that we want to reach. This is the privilege that we have, so we're just unfortunately not seen enough to be able to see these inspirational stories. So I'm really thankful to be able to share who I am and have these opportunities, because we need to be seen, and that's how we could grow also by seeing ourselves. My older sister is Joelle Bolofer, who is an accountant. I have a brother, his name is Jared Bolofer, and my youngest brother is Joshua Bolofer. So we are all professionals. We've all studied here, and we're very close-knit siblings. So that is the background of who we are as a family. My parents are very, very wonderful people, and I think that's where I get it from. They're very generous people who have always taught me to give back to those in need. So this is my my thank you to them for being who I am today.
You are a very active young Filipino, and what message can you send to your young Filipino friends as far as community involvement is concerned?
So my message to my fellow Filipinx youth is really about embracing who you are and getting to know your heritage, and that is a journey that is personal to each person. We're all at different stages of our life in terms of discovering who we are as people, as Filipino Canadians, Filipinx Canadians, and not being afraid to reach out to your kapwa Filipinos. We're all here for each other. Lean on the person who you think that you can trust to try to grow your own Filipino-ness.
So the Filipino millennials are showing that we can never be too young to keep old tradition alive. So the Filipino Heritage Society of Montreal has a responsibility, of course, to lead our community. Our administrators are volunteers, and being in our community, we strengthen our ties and broaden our support network. So in behalf of the Filipino Heritage Society, we thank Jackie for sharing the initiative and organizations is involved in and makes holiday bright for those in need. And so this is Amy Manalog from the Filipino Heritage Hour of the Filipino Heritage Society of Montreal. Thank you and good night.
Thank you again for having me.